Legend here, and welcome to the first episode of 80's Mania Wrestling Returns. Now, this game is a mobile game you can get on the Play Store or the the Apple equivalent. Basically, it's like a wrestling GM mode style game. The wrestlers in the game are fictitious, but a lot of them are very similar to wrestlers that you will know. So, for people who like to play with like real wrestlers to use as a reference, you still get that with this game, but it's also different enough that you can use your own imagination and do your own things. So basically we're going to start a new game. I've only played this once, so I've played the game. Basically you can start at any point within like a 10-year period, so you can start in the 80s, 85 or 90. The game runs for 20 years if you start from 80, obviously 15 for 85 and 10 for 90. So I've played it once, and I've played it all the way through, so I've done a 20-year run, and it's really freaking fun, to be honest with you. There's a couple things that I learned while doing it, so I'm going to make some tweaks to how I play this time around. So we're going to start from 1980. Like I said, I haven't played this game for a while, so I've been following them on Twitter, and I know that there's some updates to the game that I haven't seen before. So like this, for example, I've never seen before. Results do not affect future shows. Some results affect future shows. I'm going to go for this, but I don't think I've done that before. I'm pretty sure Classic might have been mine. So I assume what this means is that if certain wrestlers win certain matches, they'll automatically be placed into stuff. I'm guessing. We'll do it that way. Let's see what happens. I went with Wrestle World last time. I'm going to go with the same again. +1 to bonus pop. Skill. Okay, let's do it that way. Yep, so no cost to start. I always go with the Vince S guy. I have enough coins to do it, so I'm going to go with him. Basically, you just pick which commissioner you want and you get given cash per show. You need cash to buy him, but luckily I have some left over from my last run. So what we're going to do on this episode is we're going to pick our roster. Now I've already done it. I've already made a roster, but we're going to go through, have a look at it, see how it is, and then from that point on we're gonna continue. So this is not necessary. You don't have to pick a roster. You can just use every single card that you've unlocked. But what I found playing it through before is that I had too many cards, and honestly, it made it a bit difficult to keep track of all the storylines that I had going on. So what we'll do is we're going to go straight to cards, and what I've done, there is an option here to put some cards into like a favorite pile. So that's what I've done. If we go to all and then we go to wrestlers, so you can put cards into a favorite, and that's what I've done here. So favorite 1, as you see here, you can highlight a card, hold down on the heart, and it will add it to your favorite. So that's what I've done here. So I basically went through and I was thinking the wrestlers that are the most unrealistic I've not kept. So like there's a robot wrestler and there's like a ghoul wrestler. I want it to be semi-realistic, so I've gone through and I've got rid of some of those. There's some jobbers that I don't like. I've also not used any legendary wrestlers. Now I assume if you're watching this video you have some sort of semblance of the game. So a legendary wrestler has the highest stats, and while that's really cool, it also means that they win a lot. And it's kind of, if you have legendary wrestlers, it's very hard for a non-legendary wrestler to win the title. So I currently have 4. And like I said, when I was playing this, basically it was just like Undermaster and Jet and Aces were just winning the title constantly and no one else got a look in. So I'm not going to use any legendary wrestlers. And on the main event, I'm only going to use a couple. So a lot of these aren't going to be active until later in the years anyway. So that's another big part of this game, is that as you play, wrestlers come into the company later on in the years. So for example, this version of Jet Set is not active until 1990, until 99. So you might have another version of the same wrestler who's active earlier. A great example is probably the Mercenary, actually. So you have this version here, who is active from 90 to 99, and he is like a legendary main event wrestler. But there's also a version of him in the 80s where he's a mid-card wrestler. So there's a lot of continuation you can do with your wrestlers. So basically, let's just run through the roster that I have assembled. I'm going to start on Jobber. We're just going to keep a lookout for the pink heart in the corner. So like this one, for example, there's a couple versions of like a Michael Jackson themed wrestler. I didn't think it really worked, so I've not used them. Jobber Joe, again, it's just a bit basic, so I've not gone with him. You can use basically your jobbers, your local talent, the guys you squash. I'm not going to use any of those. Mandonna, bit of a weird one, so I've not gone with that. Tennis Pro, I like Tennis Pro. This is kind of weird. I do like Tennis Pro. I had a run with him. I think he's the only jobber I've decided to keep. There's a foil version of him. I don't know. I just kind of like him, so I'm throwing him in the mix. He doesn't really work with like what I've said, where I'm trying to have it semi-realistic. Zombie Punk and Zombie Skater I've not used as well. Again, I don't think it really works. We go to the openers. I need to put this active actually, because I've not actually gone through anyone who's inactive yet. So these are only the wrestlers who are available now in the 80s. So Big Thug, I really like Big Thug. Boombox, Britt Buckingham. Bugbuster, no. Caesar Sleaze is really good. Chet Sky, really like Chet Sky, especially the foil card. Very good. He's a guy you could, you know, put in for like a heavyweight championship, like an upset win. Cletus Mullet. A lot of these I've just got because they're part of a tag team. Cutthroat, I kind of like. Danger Zone, Dizzy Licks, Dungeon Crawler. Because I've got a foil version of his rival as well, which gives you good stars, but I don't think it works with what I've got going on in my head. Glam, foil version of Glam. Goblin Knight, that's the one who has a rivalry. You know, so they get a bonus when they're in an established rivalry. You get a bonus, and particularly if it's 2 foil cards. Sagothica, I've got Herman the Nerd. I've not gone with Herman. I don't know why. Jesse Wild, Johnny Cobra, Keith Blood, Little Thug in a tag team with Big Thug, Mark Bug, Max Attack. So Max Attack also has a tag team with one of my favourite characters in this game. I should put him in. I'm going to put him in. I'm going to put Max Attack in. I don't want the roster to be too big because I kind of want all of them to have something to do. Moon Man, there's 2 versions of him. So there's Moon Trooper and then there's Moon Man. I put Moon Man in, not Moon Trooper. We've left him out. Moon Man is a tag team with another wrestler called Starboy, so that's why I've decided to have that iteration of the character in. Officer Chip, no. Papa Chopper, yes. Pat Cabbage, yes. Rad Racer, no. Again, I'm not really feeling it. Slugger Johnson. This guy might be my low-key favourite. I really like this guy. On my last go, I really tried to push him to a world championship, and he just would never win it. So he had a few mid-card runs, but I could never get him to grab it. And I've got all versions of him because there's a babyface and then there's a heel version of him. And this was the version I really tried to push to get a title, but it just didn't work. Soul Daddy I've got in. Tiny Norman I've not. Waldo the Dweeb I've not. Yuppie VP I've not put him in. That's strange. It might have been that I was thinking about numbers. I'm going to put him in. I'm going to add him in. I don't really want like a big roster of people that I'm not going to use. But I think I'm going to leave him in. Zap I'll leave in. Mullet, because they're tag team specialists. Mid card I got the Blitz. I think that's a cool card. Brute Chameleon Kid I've not put in. I think that's fine, I'll leave him out. Doberman Denny, I've got to have the Bulldogs in. Come on now. I've got to have the Bulldogs in. Draw, characters like this I've not had in. They don't look human, quite frankly, so I'm not having them in. Geppetto Rocco. I think it's just a stats thing with him. I've got so many characters, I just can't imagine myself using him at all. Hackatonga I've got in. Decent stats, I suppose. Again, He-Man one is a bit too cartoony for me. It's a bit too unrealistic in that sense. Iron Mask, wrestler in a mask, fiendish. Let's go. Yuan Tiajuna. Again, it's just stats with him. I can't imagine myself using him. Mad Arab I've got in mostly because he forms a 3-man tag team with Big Thug and Little Thug. Magnus Muscle I've got in. Massacre. Here's Mercenary, like we were talking about earlier. There's different versions of a card. So this is a mid-card version of Mercenary. Great skill, so he's going to have good matches. Quite low on the push, so he's not really going to win many. I think there's only 2 cards where I've actually paid to increase their push level, which we'll come to. Michael T. Fox, again, in my first run through of this game, Michael T. Fox, I want to say along with the He-Man card, maybe, were tag team champions and they just like didn't drop the titles for like 7 years, so I was like, that's another reason why I don't really want him in this run. Pelvis Presley, again, it's a bit cartoony. I know there was the honky tonk man in real life at this time period, but I'm like, eh. But he is a cruiserweight, which I think is why I've got him in there, because he was doing bits in the cruiserweight run for me last time. Princess Starbright, Red Pirate Rovers. See, someone like this. I'm not having people like this in the roster. Ruffian again. I was like, kind of a decent character idea, but I've left it out. Sergeant Shipley I've got in. Skullgore. Now this is one of the ones I would have used really crazy in my first run. I think he was like he might have been like a 10-time Cruiserweight champion. He had a few mid-card runs. Really good stats. You know, really does well on the promos as well, but I've decided to leave him out. Spaz I've got in mostly because he's a tag team with Mercenary. Spunky Sparks, Starboy comes in as a champion. I've got a bunch of versions of Starboy, so I've got Death Starboy, which is the Hill version. I'm not going to use that, I'm going to keep him as this one. Succubus, we've got the Piranha. There's also 2 versions of Piranha, but I'm not going to use them either. I'm going to stick with the one. Schmuck, no thanks. Valley Girl. Early Days Triple H. I've got him in, alright, we'll keep him in. And Warhawk. Decent stats for mid-card. Now we're going to go on to the upper mid. I think main event, I think I've only got like 1 or 2 main events in as well. I'm trying to keep it so that there's a bit more movement in who can win what. So Arizona Chance is one of the persons whose push that I have bumped up. I kind of wish I didn't now. At the time, like I said, on my first run through, the legendary and main event cards were just winning so much that I wanted a few mid-carders who could get into the picture. So I bumped up his push a little bit. The problem I had really was that he would win the Cruiserweight title and you just keep it for freaking ages. Really good card, so we'll keep him in. I think you have to keep Arizona in, don't you? Like it's not really optional, it has to be done. Arizona stays in. Anti-Voodoo, she's one of the cards that I've bought and I don't think I've ever used. So we're gonna see how she gets on. Shaka Crass I've kept out because I've got a lot of heel women wrestlers but not a lot of faces. So I had to keep a couple out. Chief Buffalo, again, probably wouldn't have had him in, bar the fact that he is one of the OGs, one of your starting cards. I've got Copper Commander but not Cobalt Commander. I wanted one or the other. It's not getting too crazy. I can always update the roster at the end of the year. Just that's the way I see. I'll start with one roster for a year and then I'll add wrestlers or take wrestlers out or change gimmicks if I need to. Countess is in there. Again, I probably don't even need her. We'll leave her in for now, and if we don't use her, we'll get rid of her. Damon Van Winkle, there's 3 Van Winkle brothers, I got all of them. So they're all going to be in. Death Star Boy I've not used. Devin is in. Dickie Thunderbird is in. I don't think. I'm pretty sure I bought him but didn't really use him. Just used him in a few filler matches. So it'll be fun to use him for a change. El Presidente. Elfette. She kind of monopolized the women's title on my first run through. Exotic Rick. Fireball. I'm sure I've got a version of this guy. So we've gone with the Hill version, Hammerhead. He will be in. The Babyface version. Again, the stats are crazy. But maybe we'll change. Like I said, end of the year we'll have a look and change. Great Ginzu. Again, I don't really know. I don't know if I'm going to use him. I'm gonna, like I said, we'll keep him in for now. Harry we're not going to use. Mighty Leo we're not going to use. Mother Russia, again another heal. Mr. Tycoon. He's really good, like really good stats. And does good on promos and skits. Minx. The push is lower than I remembered actually. I remember her being in and around the title but struggling to get it back. Hooligan, really good stats but is only active for 4 years. And then there's like a different version of the card that comes in. Queen of Mean. Oh, really good stats actually. Really good. I didn't remember her skill being that high. I know she had good mic and pop. Okay, she might be a force. Reptile Ranger, I was considering letting the man go, but there's too much Jake in him. I think he has to be around just for the Jake thing. No robots, please. Terry Van Winkle. All the Van Winkles are pretty decent. It's what I found was like hard trying to generate like an in-game canon story for these guys because they're all very similar. They're all a bit, you know, basic babyface type still. But we'll see what's up. Trogalog, I did use him a lot. I feel like I used him a lot. Oh no, it might have been the 90s version, which has higher stats. And Zen. Zen, I'm gonna tell you right now, Zen's my boy. Zen's my boy, alright? He's my boy. I do like Zen. Yeah, I've increased his push twice, I think. Because he's a man. So he was one of the, like, he was kind of like a Daniel Bryan to me in the last run where he would pop into a few world title feuds. Well, won a couple, I think. And that's that. And then in the main event, like I said, I don't think I've kept many. Aces I've not got in just because he was winning too much back in the day. I might change my mind at the end of the year and bring him in. But we're definitely going to run the first year without him. Same goes with Almighty Dollar. Not great push. In fact, not great stats. Period. And again, I've got so many heel women wrestlers, I don't think I need her. Buzzsaw. Again, kind of good, but low skill. I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, I might add Buzz is another one who might come in at the end of the year. Dark Invader, amazing stats, but bordering a bit on too unrealistic, if that's fair. Mr. B, you have to keep. His push is low enough that he's not going to monopolize the title too much, but really good mic, really good pop. So we're definitely going to have him in as one of our main. I think he's the only main event guy who is in. I'm pretty sure. Gorgon again, stats are okay. Mike and Pop is low. I mean, the skill and push is okay, but we're not going to have her in the first year. Laser, another character I've got. Again, stats a little bit too good for my first year. Maybe we'll bring him in the second year. Linda Harker, the push is low enough that I'm not too worried, but the skill's really good, so we're definitely going to have her in. So that's our only two main eventers, are Linda and Dr. B, even though a lot of my upper mids and mids have actually got better stats. And then these are the legendary cards active. I've got Jet Set, but again, I think the push is too high, and if I have him in, he's just going to keep the title for too long. So we might add him in at a later time, but for now we're not going to. So that's my roster. So I'm going to leave it there. So that is the roster that we're going to use for our first year in the game. Next video we will do the first month, and we'll basically do a video every month, I think, or maybe actually, because it doesn't take that long. Maybe I'll do a couple months at a time. This is new already. Tap any box to select your monthly program. So I've not done that before. So we're gonna do that on the next video, and I'm gonna work out all these new changes that have come. At the moment, we're right down on the ratings, so we're gonna have to build. I'm not gonna be playing this game to try and do the best stats, like, because there are feuds that give you a star bonus. But if you just stick with doing those feuds every other week, it gets a bit boring, honestly. So I'm not gonna do that. We're gonna just try and have a bit of fun. Obviously, we want the star rating to be decent, but I'm not gonna let it dictate what I do. We're just gonna see how it goes, who wins, who pushes through. That it is. Thank you very much for watching Revan the Legend, and I'll see you next time.